Hello, welcome to Washington County Rural Heritage Museum. We are located about 7 miles south of Hagerstown, and we're on Route 65. We're today going to be giving you a demonstration on hearth cooking. My name is Sally Waltz, and our menu for today, we're going to be roasting a piece of pork. We're going to do a recipe called gumbas, which is a recipe that dates back into the 1500s in Germany, which is cabbage, apples, onions, and ham. We're going to bake an apple pie, and we're going to do cornbread. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about hearth cooking. We have set this hearth up historically correct in that there is a bar up here that you cannot see from this level. We have put an iron bar in. Unfortunately, early on, most people did not have access to iron, and they would put a wooden bar or pole up here, and they called them lug poles. The ladies would hang their heavy pots on these lug poles. The fire would dry out the poles, and unfortunately these poles would break and the pots would come crashing down onto the hearth. Women were scalded. They weren't scalded to death, but they had nothing to fight infection. So it really was very, very bad for women. This was actually the second leading cause of death of women during this time in history. So out of necessity, because we were really losing a lot of women, these cranes were then installed into the fireplace. As you can see, they're movable. You can take off, you can add on to, and this kept the ladies out of the fire. I've never read an account that they broke, but I'm sure anything can happen. But this made life much better in the kitchen. And when this happened, the ladies said, well, life can never get any better in the kitchen than this. We have it all now. We would like to welcome you when you come to Rural Heritage Museum. We have here a cabin. This is called the Poffenberger cabin because the Poffenberger family lived in this at one time. We moved it from its original site to the museum and restored it. This is a part of the farmstead. We have on the farmstead another log cabin known as the Reader cabin. We have a 4-square German garden, and we're working on a drying house and an outdoor baking oven. Then down in the village, we're working on putting in a village. So far, we have a church that is almost complete. It's Mount Tabor Church, which was moved from the Clear Spring area. We have started the glass house, not glass as glass per se, but the last name of the family was Glass, and it was one of the first houses in Sharpsburg. That has the foundation poured, and we'll be putting that up soon. Also, many of you may have heard of Dr. Farney. He had an office on Route 66. Soon we will be moving that office, that little white building, to the community down here into our village, and we'll be restoring that. So we are growing, and we're having a good time doing it, but the main thing is to preserve history and to educate mostly our children, because children have lost some of this information over the years, and we want our children to be well educated in the history of their area and many times in their families. We'll be right back, and when we come back, I'm going to show you how to prepare gumbas using the things that they would have used, and so please stay tuned and we'll be right back soon.
Did you know that the family farm is endangered? Did you know that eating fresh and local food not only tastes better, they are healthier for you, and it actually helps conserve energy? My passion for preserving farmland, cooking, eating healthy, and supporting local farms and businesses caused me to create this show, Cooking Fresh, Cooking Local. Join us each week as we visit local farms by way of the culinary creations of chef-host Carl Brown and other guest chefs. Cooking Fresh, Cooking Local will show you how to prepare easy, delicious, healthy meals using fresh and local ingredients. Join the Buy Local Challenge by tuning in to Cooking Fresh, Cooking Local and supporting your local farms and businesses. Remember, when you're cooking fresh, you're cooking local. Thank you. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to Alternative Choices, your healthy alternative for foods, vitamins, herbs, and health practices. At Alternative Choices, we offer everything from quality supplements to children and pet products. Alternative Choices also offer nutritional counseling and will assist you in choosing the right kind of foods or nutritional supplements that will help you achieve your health-related goals. Feel like a kid again with Alternative Choices. 32 North Allison Street in downtown Greencastle. Health the way nature intended.
This segment of Cooking Fresh, Cooking Local is brought to you by Valley Homes and Style magazine. The recipes on today's show will be printed exclusively in Valley Homes and Style magazine. To pick up a free copy, visit our website at www.homeandstyle.com or join the Valley Style Club and subscribe today for a discount at many of the Valley's best restaurants, services, and shops.
The Washington County Rural Heritage Museum contains over 2,500 artifacts honoring Washington County's agricultural history. Step back in time and see for yourself the time-honored value of agriculture at the Rural Heritage Museum on Sharpsburg Pike in Boonesboro, Maryland. Open Saturdays and Sundays or by appointment.
Welcome back. We are now going to work on a dish called gumbus. Gumbus was a recipe that dated back into the 15th century. It was, of course, brought from Germany by the Germans, and the Germans did settle the area that we are here in the Rural Heritage Museum. The ingredients for the recipe, cabbage, apples, onions, and we're going to use ham. They would recommended using ham, a sausage, bacon, any leftover product, a pork product that they may have had maybe a meal before. And to start off with, you need to take a head of cabbage and you need to reserve several of your outer leaves from the head. I've taken 3 off and I've put them aside. We're going to use those a little bit later. Then you need to chop your cabbage. This is the kind of tool they would have used to chop their cabbage. As you can see, the cabbage is kind of filling, kind of light and thick looking. So in the essence of time, I went ahead and took the cabbage that I chopped and sauteed it in some butter, which is what they would have done. Really what I wanted to do was to wilt it so that I can get more into my gumbus pot. This is my gumbus pot. Gumbus was such a used recipe and loved by the Germans so much that they actually had a pot named after the dish. Now, of course, up north they would have called it a bean pot, but here in this area we have a gumbus pot. This is a layered dish, so I'm going to start off by putting some of this cabbage that I have wilted in butter into the bottom of my gumbus dish. Then I'm going to add apples. And then I'm going to add some onion and some ham. And it smells wonderful as you're doing this. There again, just layering. It's a very simple dish. And of course the ingredients were not expensive. And these ingredients were all homegrown. Let's do some more onion. I'll just go ahead and finish off the onion and some ham. And you want to always finish with cabbage. I have a few more apples to put in. And of course you can season this with salt and pepper to taste. Now after I've done that, then I'm going to add some water. Or if you had some meat broth, that will also add more flavor to your dish. Now these leaves that I took off earlier and reserved, I'm just simply going to place them on top to make a lid or a seal. And I'm going to place it by the fire and let it sit and simmer. This is really your first crock pot. You want to let it simmer just all day long. This was another handy dish for the ladies to make during this time because they could start this off, put it on by the fire, and let it sit and simmer. Sometimes this actually was a meal, especially if they had some bread to go with it. So now I'm going to take this to the fire. I have a stand over here that we're going to place it on. And we will let it sit there and simmer the rest of the day until we're ready to eat. So stay tuned, and we'll be back and we'll show you how to prepare the pork roast.
Hello, I'm Meredith Poffenberger of Stonecrest Farms in Sharpsburg, Maryland. My husband has been farming all his life and truly enjoys producing healthy, high-quality beef for our family and our customers.
Hi, my name is John Ganano. I'm from Back Creek Bend Farm. The beef that we had tonight just had a flavor that was much richer and stronger than the store-bought beef. And aside from that, the way that you know where the beef came from is an essential part of what you want to eat. You want to eat something where you know where it came from, and that's the really, for me, the most important factor of eating local beef.
Stonecrest Farms beef is Maryland bred and fed for consistently tender, delicious beef. Stonecrest Farms beef can be ordered by calling us or visiting our website, stonecrestfarms.com.
I'm Fred Parsons, and we're proud to be a part of the community. And I want to personally invite you to come experience the Parsons difference.
Guess what? Now you can experience the Parsons difference at home, sipping coffee, in your jammies if you like. At ParsonsFord.com, the virtual lights are always on. You just point, click, and save. Pick out the new or used Ford, Lincoln, or Mercury you want, and shop our entire inventory online. Apply for credit and schedule service work online too. ParsonsFord.com. It really doesn't get any easier.
Hi, I'm Judy Larkin, the Tea Lady.
Judy Larkin, the Tea Lady, has crossed 3 oceans, 26 countries, and 4 continents in a continuous quest to learn more about the world of tea. She's known for humorous yet informative presentations and specializes in the cultural and historic aspects of tea. For your next program, contact the Tea Lady for an event to remember.
The Washington County Rural Heritage Museum contains over 2,500 artifacts honoring Washington County's agricultural history. Step back in time and see for yourself the time-honored value of agriculture at the Rural Heritage Museum on Sharpsburg Pike in Boonesboro, Maryland. Open Saturdays and Sundays or by appointment.
Welcome back again. We're going to work on a pork loin roast. The Germans loved pork, and there again, just like pie, they would eat it 3 times a day if it were available to them. Pork comes, of course, from hogs, and hogs would have been raised on the farmstead. A traditional German family was not really very large. Mostly, according to the census, most of them had 2 children if they were boys. If they did not have boys, then, of course, they would have a larger family. Having girls, they would keep going till they had a boy. So for the average German family, they would use about 5 hogs a year on their table. Today we're using this lovely pork loin. Before I put it in my spit, I'm going to use a rub, which was very common early on. Some cuts of meat were not all that desirable, and some actually were a little on the spoiled side. But food was at a very low time, and so they would be using rubs for flavor, also to make it more palatable. What I'm using here is pepper and some dried garlic. There again, the Germans used garlic, a lot of garlic in their food. The English did not. And early on, primarily, the 2 cultures that were here were English and German. I'm using marjoram that I've dried from the garden. I'm going to turn it over. Now there's fat on the bottom, but I'm still going to use a little bit of the herbs because that fat is actually going to be burned off as we put it to the fire. And this was very healthy eating as well. When you see that when it's put on the spit and put it to the fire causes the fat to actually just fall down from the meat into a drip pan, and so therefore the meat was very healthy. The Germans did very little frying. Frying was only done for special occasions, because if they fried, they needed to use lard. Lard needed to be kept, because lard was made once a year during the butchering time, and lard needed to be kept for pies. As I said, they loved their pie. And it needed to be kept for making candles and making soap. This is not difficult at all. It just takes a minute to get your skewer through the meat and hit your other end of your basket. This is called a basket spit. Ouch. And then you put this little piece on here to help hold that in place. Now we're ready to take it to the fire. As you can see, that was not hard at all. Now I need to add my lock. This comes with your basket spit. This I will lock onto my spit and put around the andiron. This will hold it in place. From time to time, we will need to take this off and turn it so that the meat will cook all the way around and also brown all the way around. I'm putting the fat side out because I do want that to start to dissipate and get rid of that as soon as I can. We're going to come back in a couple of minutes, but the reason we're stopping right now is this pot right here is called my bake oven. I have to preheat my bake oven. Preheat your oven is not a modern term. It comes from this time in history because my oven is cast iron. I need for it to be very warm before I can put hot coals to it to bake an apple pie. So I need to preheat it because if you take cold cast iron to a hot fire, you have rapid expansion and it possibly could crack. Most women had one of these in their lifetime, and so they try to take very good care of them. So when we come back, we'll do an apple pie.
Hello, I'm Meredith Poffenberger of Stonecrest Farms in Sharpsburg, Maryland. My husband has been farming all his life and truly enjoys producing healthy, high-quality beef for our family and our customers.
Hi, I'm Reverend Delancey Cadlett, and the store-bought beef had a good flavor, but the home-raised farm beef was excellent. It was tender, juicy, and had an excellent flavor to it.
Stonecrest Farms beef is Maryland bred and fed for consistently tender, delicious beef. Stonecrest Farms beef can be ordered by calling us or visiting our website, stonecrestfarms.com.
Family. No one sticks by you like family. Join our family. We are dream makers, providing a home for life. We don't stop until your dreams are reality. Family, friends, and dreams for a lifetime. S&A Homes, where the joys and adventures of life take shape. Start making your dreams come true today. See all of our communities and lifestyles at sahomebuilder.com.
Welcome to Alternative Choices, your healthy alternative for foods, vitamins, herbs, and health practices. At Alternative Choices, we offer everything from quality supplements to children and pet products. Alternative Choices also offer nutritional counseling and will assist you in choosing the right kind of foods or nutritional supplements that will help you achieve your health-related goals. Feel like a kid again with Alternative Choices. 32 North Allison Street in downtown Greencastle. Health the way nature intended.
Hi, I'm Judy Larkin, the Tea Lady.
Judy Larkin, the Tea Lady, has crossed 3 oceans, 26 countries, and 4 continents in a continuous quest to learn more about the world of tea. She's known for humorous yet informative presentations and specializes in the cultural and historic aspects of tea. For your next program, contact the Tea Lady for an event to remember.
The Washington County Rural Heritage Museum contains over 2,500 artifacts honoring Washington County's agricultural history. Step back in time and see for yourself the time-honored value of agriculture at the Rural Heritage Museum on Sharpsburg Pike in Boonesboro, Maryland. Open Saturdays and Sundays or by appointment.
Welcome back. Our oven has preheated. It is now ready to put a pie in. So while I was waiting for the oven to preheat, I went ahead and put the pie together. But let me tell you what I've done to make this apple pie. First of all, the Germans loved apples, and they used apples a lot in their diet. They used them fresh, of course, this time of year. They dried them for winter use. They squeezed them to make cider. We all love cider. And they made vinegar. Vinegar was a very important product for them because they needed vinegar to preserve foods for winter use. So in my pie today, I have rolled out my dough. This is left over from my pie that I just made. And of course, I've used lard. Lard comes from hogs. and I've used lard. This makes wonderful flaky crust for the pie. In my pie, after I chopped up the apples peeled, chop your apples, then I add just a little bit of sugar because I've used Golden Delicious apples. Golden Delicious apples are very sweet, and you do not have to use very much sugar. Then I added some cinnamon. It always smells so good. And also some fresh grated nutmeg. The Germans love nutmeg, and the only way really to use nutmeg is to grate it fresh. One of these little graters are fine, and this is a reproduction of what they would have used, but you can still find these today. And you just hold your nutmeg and grate. Much more flavor than the nutmeg that comes out of a jar or a can that you can buy. But a hint, never wash your nutmeg grater. They will turn rusty, and you do not want rust in your food. I used my rolling pin. This is a reproduction, but this is a good reproduction of a good old German rolling pin. It works wonderfully. And if you look at it, you can see that it's thick in the center and narrows out at the bottom. This makes for a wonderful, even rolled crust when you roll it out. Now, I also would like to tell you about this tool. This was a tool that you would find in every kitchen in a German household. This is called a dough hoe. Food supplies, as I've mentioned before, were very low, and people had to be very careful about the foods that they used. They could waste nothing. So when they were finished rolling out their dough, they would simply scrape their boards with this dough hoe, not wasting and throwing away any of the flour. The excess dough would have been used to make some cookies. They're wonderful cookies if you just roll them out a little bit, add some cinnamon and sugar, put them in the oven and bake them. They're just wonderful. But they always scraped their board in order to save. Once they had scraped everything up, then they would use those scrapings for thickening for in soups and stews. Well, now it is time to put my pie in the oven. What I need to do is go to my fire with my shovel and pull out some hot coals and ashes. I will replenish these as the time goes on. This is my bake oven. Simply put my pie in. I have a trivet in the bottom of my bake oven. If I were to put it in my pan without a trivet, it would burn on the bottom. I put my lid on, and I'm going to get some more coals. Trying not to get any ash or coals on my meat. But if I do, it's okay. They're sterile. Anything over 250 degrees is sterile. And they did eat a lot of ash. Okay, that will be enough to get it started. Now we're going to move to making our cornbread, another good staple in the German household. Here I have cornmeal, flour, a little bit of sugar, and a little bit of baking soda. To that, I'm going to add 1 egg. Nice thing about hearth cooking, you don't have to run out to the trash can. And then I'm going to add a cup of buttermilk. Now the Germans' cornbread was a little different in this particular area than in some other areas. Down south, they used white corn or hominy corn to make their cornmeal. In this area, we used the yellow corn, but the Germans roasted their corn before they would grind it into meal. Up north, they did not roast their corn, and they had a lighter shade of yellow cornmeal. The roasted cornmeal does give a very distinct and a little more flavor a little heavier flavor, I would say. Cornbread is very easy to make. But early on, the cornmeal had to be ground at home. A lot of times, a mortar and pestle would have been used, and this would have been jobs for children. They would have ground corn by pounding it and pounding it and pounding it until they had something very fine. I'm going to be greasing my corn mold with lard. Of course, that is what they had to use. Some people would have used butter. They would not have used butter. Of course, butter had to be made, and butter would have been used for flavoring dishes or to be used, as we think of using butter today, on breads and rolls. That's just about finished. While I'm filling this, I will tell you a little bit about Rural Heritage Museum. Not only do we have a farmstead and a village, but we have a museum building. In fact, we have 2 museum buildings. We have not moved into the one building as yet because we're just finishing the completion of it. But in our museum building, we have many, many wonderful things. A lot of it is about agriculture in the area, and everything does predate 1940. But some of the wonderful things you will see is a real Conestoga wagon. We have the Keedysville Post Office. We have Myron Bloom's store. And I like to tell children when we're doing tours, this is the first Walmart, including a pharmacy, one-stop shopping. We also have a switchboard, which many of our children are not familiar with that time of using a switchboard to make a telephone call. And so they can see what an early switchboard would look like and how it works. But the one that we have in our collection is very special in the fact that at one time it was at Camp David. So please come and visit our museum and learn and enjoy all the wonderful things that we have here. Okay, so now I'm going to put this in my reflector oven and we'll bake this, and this will bake probably in about 20 minutes. So come back and visit us again.
The Washington County Rural Heritage Museum contains over 2,500 artifacts honoring Washington County's agricultural history. Step back in time and see for yourself the time-honored value of agriculture at the Rural Heritage Museum on Sharpsburg Pike in Boonesboro, Maryland. Open Saturdays and Sundays or by appointment.
Welcome back. We have now finished our meal that we have prepared today. This would have been a very good meal for the Germans, but a meal they also would have loved. Our gumbus is finished. I'm going to peel back the leaves. And you can see how this has just really gotten very nice, very pretty in there, and the aroma is wonderful. The pork roast has turned out very nicely, and they will enjoy that very much. And of course the apple pie, nothing beats having a dessert in the fall in the German household like an apple pie. And then we finish off with our cornbread. We hope that you have enjoyed our presentation today. Please come by and visit the museum. Come to Rural Heritage Museum, to the village, to the farmstead, to the garden. We have a German 4-square garden here. Please stop by and visit us. We'd love to have you stop by. It's a fun place to be. Admission is free, but we do accept donations. And please bring the children. This is a children-friendly museum, and we love to see children come. So please join us as soon as you can, and we'll look forward to seeing you then.
The Washington County Rural Heritage Museum contains over 2,500 artifacts honoring Washington County's agricultural history. Step back in time and see for yourself the time-honored value of agriculture at the Rural Heritage Museum on Sharpsburg Pike in Boonesboro, Maryland. Open Saturdays and Sundays or by appointment.